Welcome back to Straight Facts. It's Tuesday. I'm joined by LB and Egal. Loads to sink our teeth into today. Will Arsenal bounce back? Are the Blue Sharks going to come and bite off their legs, George style? We're looking at some transfer news with Man United circling for Ndiaye after the bad news of Dorgu's 10-week injury. On the same day, he scores the goal of the season as well. How is your luck? We're looking at that. Plus, Chelsea have been rejected for David Luiz. Chelsea are saying they pulled out of the deal. Some people are saying he rejected the salary he was offered. We're going to delve into that in more detail. Plus, look, anything you guys want us to touch on or talk about, get your comments in. Of course, we always prioritize our members and our super chats because you keep this show going. Loads to go through today. Egal's going to get a cooking, I know it. But Egal, LB, how are you both, gents?
I'm good. Oh, good. Yeah, happy, man. You know what I'm saying? Sit here back in this race. And, yeah, a little bit of a wobble for Arsenal, isn't it? So, yeah, Egal's going to have to get cooked, man. I can't lie.
Every time I think we're going to kill you off, you just keep coming back. It is what it is.
I know. You ain't got that killer mentality, bro. You know what I mean? Rodri told you about it, but you ain't listened yet, have you?
Hey, I don't think you have the room to speak about that when you've only won one game in your last 5.
Yeah, we closed the gap. So talk about that.
The gap was 2 points game week 18, by the way.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
I'll take 4 points, bro, because we should have been about 13, 14 points behind here, if we're being honest, yeah. That's legit where we should be. But, you know, luckily for us, Arsenal are not winning their games. You know what I'm saying? And we've managed to get back ourselves into it. We've not really done anything, if I'm being honest with you. Because only what Laz Egal said, we won one game against Wolves. But we should have been dead and buried, man. We should have been dead and buried, and we're still here. So I'll take that.
Hey. We'll see.
Yep. And we're going to delve into that a little bit later in the show, people. So strap yourselves in. I wanted to ask first of all, though, and I'm doing this because I want not validation, because that's not how I work, but how good were Man United at the weekend, LB?
Yeah, you were pretty good, to be fair. You should have scored, but you should have scored a couple more goals. Thought there was a couple of times when Mbeumo got the ball or Bruno Fernandes got the ball and didn't take the right options. And on another day, you probably could have got one or two more. The 2 goals you conceded, scrappy as hell. So I think that the score actually flattered Arsenal, if I'm being honest with you. So yeah, good, man. That's 2 wins on the bounce. But listen, I was speaking to some guy before about it, and I was like, you know what though? United have beaten big teams like in the last few years when you've been rubbish. Then you struggle against the next guy. So for me, I'll say you've turned the corner if you go and beat, is it Fulham at the weekend you've got? Yeah. If you go and beat Fulham at the weekend, I'll be like, oh, you know what? Fair play, because you've done this before. You've beat big teams before. You beat City before. You've got results against Liverpool. You know, you've got results against teams when nobody expects you to get a result. And then you'll just lose or draw against someone rubbish. So not that Fulham are rubbish. Fulham are a good side. But yeah, I think for me, if I was a United fan, I'd probably be looking at this game at the weekend saying, go on then. Are you just going to turn up for the big games? Are you just going to turn up for the big games and then drop points against Fulham? So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see how you get on against Fulham, because if you do beat Fulham, then for me, that's probably where I'll be like, yo, fair play. They're actually might be, well, not fair play because I hate United, but you know what I mean? I'll be looking at it going, oh, you know what? They actually might be turning the corner. But now you did play well. Like I say, I actually think the scoreline flattered Arsenal. I don't think it was a 3-2 game.
Hey, before I get on to Arsenal, let me give Man United a little bit of credit. I'll be honest. I did not think you guys were going to come to our house and win. I did not think you guys were going to even score a goal. So for you guys to score 3 goals is quite impressive. First team to do that in over 121 games. And then the main thing I want to get into is how on earth was Ruben Amorim playing this team like this every single week, and then you just have Carrick come out of nowhere, 2 games, boom, you beat the 2 best teams in the country based off consistency this season. It's actually crazy to think there's a large portion of your fan base who are still back in Ruben Amorim, consistently saying this guy is going to turn it around. We don't have good players. Like, Mainu's been amazing. All your players have been playing to a high level. Dorgu, I didn't know he had that in him, to be honest. I thought he was a left wing back. I didn't know he was a left winger. He scored an amazing goal. Some people are going to complain about how we played and everything else, but I do think you got to give Man United their credit. They played very well. They took it to us, and we gifted them the first goal because of the press. We gifted them a very easy chance. They took their opportunity from there. And then from there, it was us chasing the game after you scored the second goal. And I just thought your press was on point. I thought you scored 2 great goals, 2 really good goals that 90% of the time, if you concede 3 goals at home, you're going to probably lose. So let's be honest. Our defense let us down for the first time in a couple of years. Where'd everyone go? Yeah, LB, I agree fully, though, with the whole take about the scoreline was flattering. We took the lead. For them to come back and to score 2 goals, let alone score 3 goals at the Emirates is impressive. Fair play to them. We came back twice. We took the lead, then they came back, and then we got an equalizer, and then they immediately go and score. The mentality they showed at the Emirates was impressive. Fair play to them.
Do you know what's interesting? LB, first and foremost, I agree with what you've said. I'm buzzing about the last 2 games, but we have beaten big teams before. The only difference I see is it's 2 games running. We haven't conceded a chance in open play, like a single chance. Shots from range, set pieces, and scrappy goal. I mean, even the goal they scored, I suppose theoretically it was a chance, but they didn't actually create a shot. The cross hit a player's heel and went in. So we haven't actually conceded like a gilt-edged chance where there's been a shot on our goal outside of set pieces. That's a rarity for us, even in the big games. But where I agree with LB is I'm celebrating it. I had a good last weekend against City, this weekend against Arsenal. I had a good drink. I enjoyed it. But the Fulham game is actually a bigger test. The Spurs game is a bigger test. If we're hard to beat in those games, if we're creating a good amount of chances, if we're winning those games and we are the better team, then I think a different conversation has to be had. I do think a top 4 finish or a top 5 finish as it will be this year, thanks to you all doing so well in Europe. The coefficient points are good. I think it's very doable for Man United, especially with the inconsistencies at Chelsea, definitely with the inconsistencies at Liverpool. We've got, we have an opportunity in a period where they're really bad. If Carrick can get this right, we could make a 5 to 8 point gap going into the last 10 games of the season, and Champions League football could be achievable for us. But what is going through my mind a lot, and I've held back the last few weeks from doing this, but I am going to speak about it today. It just shows how bad a coach Ruben Amorim was. And it took everybody a different period of time to get there. I wanted to give him the preseason, the start of the summer, and I did ignore elements of last season from the perspective that he kind of started badly at Sporting, had a preseason, bought some players, and went to another level, and I was prepared to give it a chance. I wish the club hadn't done that. I wish we'd made this call sooner, because he just made us worse than we are. We have still got, in my opinion, an average to good squad with a sprinkling of top quality players, and we still need a massive overhaul and improvement in this squad over the next 2 to 3 years. Nothing has changed in that regard. But one thing, and I know LB said this on many shows, I said it on many shows, I want to make sure we're reiterating this point. A competent coach, not a world-class coach, not the greatest coach in the world, but a competent coach should be able to get this squad winning between 50 to 60% of our games. And we were sitting around the 30% mark. And the first 2 games have been amazing. The 2 hardest games we could have had, maybe the 2 hardest games for the remainder of the season in all intents and purposes, and we've won them. We now need to go on from this point to, if we really want to get the praise, if we really want to feel like our club's moving in the right direction, that is what we need. But the one point that keeps going through my mind this last couple of days is we maybe don't have any idea how much we've improved in the last year to 18 months as a club in terms of how we're operating, behaviors internally, and even the recruitment, because we had such a bad coach. My hope is that I'm more wrong than right, and that is that the squad's much better than I think it is. The club's in a much better state than I think it is, and a competent coach makes us go to another level. I still think it's somewhere nearer the middle, that those other areas still need to be addressed as well. But the one thing for me, I'm still seeing Ruben Amorim fans online defend him, and I can't understand it, because I don't think these last 2 performances and results were possible under him, let alone back to back. Yes, we beat City. Yes, we've got draws against Arsenal, but if people go back and watch those games, we were hanging on for dear life for large parts of those games. Even if you go back to Ten Hag's win against City in the FA Cup final, yes, we scored 2 goals early, but then we were hanging on, if that makes sense. You were peppering us, you were pinning us in. It was very different this time round. So I'm very happy with what United are doing, but I do want Man United fans to keep their feet so very, very firmly on the ground, to be fair. Someone here says squad is decent. Yeah, that's what average to good means, right? Decent. It's what it is, yeah.
Decent squad. It's good. It's got holes. It's got problems, but it's a squad that can get top 5. It's a squad that can get top 5. That is probably.
To be fair, I said that at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, it can get top 5. You probably need some other teams maybe to not quite hit the peak, but that happens. And yeah, Ruben Amorim was failing massively. Now, I don't fully put the blame at Ruben Amorim fully, because I never think he should have got the job in the first place. Because I don't think he should have got the job in the first place. And I said this to Terry when you applied.
He almost got the Liverpool job. What do you mean? He was highly rated.
No. The thing is, bro, and I said this to Terry when they appointed him. When they got rid of Ten Hag, they should have got a manager that come in and could just take straight over and played a similar system, because Ten Hag was failing, right? What they did is, into a very unsettled football club, they got a manager that plays a completely different style of football that needed new players everywhere, and that was never going to work. And I said that to Terry when they appointed him. Yeah, they should have what they should have done is just got a manager after Ten Hag who just plays a similar style of football, who just gets more out of the players. So now they've got Carrick, he's obviously coming. He's put players back into sort of their normal position or whatever, and he's getting a tune out of them. The thing is with Amorim said from day one, I am not changing my system. But United knew that when they appointed him. So they should never have appointed him in the first place. He should have been sacked anyway after the Europa League final. It's finally happened. United probably will get top 5 now, especially given the fact they're at both cups. They're not in Europe. They've got one game a week. If they didn't get top 5, it'd be pretty poor from this position. But yeah, like I say, I would just, and I'm not trying to say this to sort of like dampen on United here, because it is 2 great results, but I'd just say, let's see what happens against Fulham, because you have done this before. You have beaten big teams before, and then you go and drop point. You're a very inconsistent side. If you go and beat Fulham at the weekend, I think United fans at that point can go, you know what? Maybe we have turned a corner, man.
Hey, I think these last 2 games are a referendum on Ruben Amorim's time at Manchester United. It shows that the players stopped caring about him. It shows that they stopped trying for him. And some of these guys are working their ass off for Carrick, because they're trying to show everybody, look at what I'm capable of doing, trying to make himself known that he's going to get back into that England team with Kobe Mainu, Casemiro getting into the Brazil team, Bruno doing his thing, saying, I'm still the man in this team, and just showing, you just play the players in the right position. I think a lot of people, sometimes we overthink football, we overanalyze it, and we just think that the person in charge knows what they're doing. Maybe sometimes they don't know what's best for the club.
Yeah. Look, and listen, the hiring of him, again, whenever you hire a failed manager, essentially, there is no defending it. You've made a bad appointment. It's as simple as that. If I bring someone on my podcast, the audience don't like them, their points are crap, we end up fighting all the time, it's a bad appointment, right? And you have to take that on the chin yourself, right? I made that decision. So our board do need to do that. But they should have done it sooner. Yes, I'll hold my hands up and say, well, I was willing to give it the summer to see how it went. But for me, once we got past the kind of Grimsby game, you could see there was barely any improvement. And I said then, and I'll say it again, and I was very late to the party. A lot of people were talking about this from day one. Some people were talking about it from as early as March last year, and they should have acted sooner. But I agree with LB, feet on the ground, keep working hard. We've had a lot of false storms in the past. The only thing I would say that feels a little different is the performances have been really good, but that's against teams that have more of the ball than us. I'm now intrigued to see what things look like with us, with a little bit more possession, and at home for the next 2 games, because we should beat Fulham at home and we should be beating Tottenham at home. Tottenham right now are dog shit. And if we don't beat Fulham are better than Tottenham, in my opinion. So that's a harder game. We should be beating Tottenham. And I know they're on a bit of a resurgence, but we should be going away to a team in the bottom 3 in West Ham and winning away. If we truly are a Champions League team, we have to be able to beat those sides. So 1, it would be 5 wins on the bounce if we do that. 2, I think we will see progression. 3, matey boy gets his haircut. And I think all those things are important, because I don't dislike the United strand, but I kind of want that, because it is a gimmick. It's great, raise a lot of money for charity. I want it over with, because it's just one of those weird things.
It's an embarrassment to be a football club is what it is.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Nothing against him, but the fact it's gone on this long is an embarrassment against your football club, man. But yeah, listen, maybe you are turning a corner, man. But as for Arsenal, mate, just diabolical, shambolic performance. It was a terrible performance. The football is shocking. no creativity in the side. They live off of set pieces and sort of like scraps. They got 2 set piece and a scrap. But other than that, there's just nothing there. Odegaard is not doing enough. Yeah, not creating. You almost forget he's on the pitch. Yeah, you almost forget he's on the pitch. Saka not doing enough. Yeah, I'm someone that actually is kind of reluctant to send for Saka, because I think that he's played way too much football and it always seems to be Saka. But he is poor. He's not doing enough in the team. Trossard and Martinelli, you know, Egal will probably come on here and tell us how they both had decent seasons. They're not good enough to be a starting left wing for Arsenal Football Club. Jesus, listen, brave call to start him, did nothing. Gyökeres come on, absolutely shambolic, got worse. So that was really bad. The good news is there's still 4 points at the top of the table, so it's not a crisis. You know what I mean? And so you've got some tough games coming up, but yeah, they need to fix up, man. You can't. You've got to be able to create stuff, man. They don't create no chances. Odegaard for me is, I don't know what he's doing, man, on a football pitch. I'd drop him, to be honest with you.
Yeah, when you look back at that game, Egal, like, where's your head at now? We're going to get onto the bigger picture in the title race a little bit later in the show. We've got some transfer stories to go through as well. But in terms of that game, when you look back now with a clearer head, you're less emotional. Why was that opening? Now, I'm going to preface this because I'll be honest with you, Egal, I don't want it's impossible physically answer. That intensity in the first 20 minutes, where did that go for the rest of the game? And I don't mean why didn't you play with that intensity for a full 90 minutes? I know that's impossible, but it never returned. You didn't move the ball as quickly. You didn't press as hard. You were causing us problems. There was a couple of good blocks that we had to make, a couple of last-ditch tackles. You were taking risks. Why, after you scored and 20 minutes in, why did it change completely? Do you think your players in that moment maybe got a little bit nervous? Do you think maybe in their minds there was an element of, oh, we got a chance here? Because it feels 3 games running, you sort of lost your nerve a little bit in the games.
I think from when we scored the goal, it was like, calm down. We have a lead. We don't need to go and be as front-footed. We don't need to attack as much. And it's almost like, I'm not saying sit back, but more or less just be a little bit more cautious. Don't lose the ball. Try to hold on to possession and work your way back. Work your way to try to get the second goal instead of just giving them back the ball. But guess what we did? That led to us getting pressed and giving you the ball and then conceding. And from then, when we conceded that goal and went back to 1-1, the reason why I don't think the intensity went back to that level, I think we changed our approach. We then changed our approach to say, let's see what you can do. We gave you more of the ball. We said, let's see what Man United can do. And maybe we tried to play your own game a little bit. And it didn't necessarily work until you then scored the second goal in the second half. And then at that point, Arteta threw the kitchen sink at it by making so many changes. I do think it was very much, we were reacting to you rather than being progressive and doing what we need to do to win the game. It was more like we were just trying to read and react to everything you guys gave us instead of focusing on our strengths. And from the first goal, I thought, you know what? Maybe I was cocky, call it whatever you want. All season, every time we score first, we win the game. In the league, every game we scored first, we won the game. Every game in all competitions we scored first, we won the game. Maybe that mindset is already in the players, that it's like, we score the first goal. From here on, we can see the game out and we can probably win. Because that's how it felt to me personally. I felt like, you know what, the goal's in the back of the net. I felt like, you know what, the game's won. Call me crazy. From the minute we scored that goal, I thought the game was won. So you think your complacency and maybe a little bit your arrogance seeped into the players as well? They scored, United won't come back now. Do you think there was an element of complacency in the game? We're at home. We're the better team. We score. We win. We're winning games like no tomorrow. And I don't think a team has scored 3 goals against us in a long time. That was not, to me, that was more of a concentration situation with the first goal conceded. The second goal from Dorgu, once again, you're focusing more on trying to say it's a handball rather than getting back and defending. Zubimendi had a disaster class, and I thought he's one person you should highlight. If you're going to highlight anybody who had a poor game, Zubimendi had probably one of the worst games he's had in an Arsenal shirt. I think directly responsible for 2 of the goals. If you look at his part defensively, involved in both goals. And then the third goal is just a great goal. I'm not really going to fault anybody for Cunha's goal. I thought it was a great goal. He took it quite well. But you look at the substitutions.
Whoa. What do you mean he took it quite well?
I'm giving him a compliment, Terry. It's not an insult.
Quite well. No, quite well is an insult. That is an insult.
It was a really good goal. Maybe I'm downplaying it, but my point is, I felt like when it came to
I dare you later when your missus makes you dinner. If you go, that was quite nice. What's the look you get, bruv? Say it's. I dare you to ditch your wife later. See what she says.
It is. My point being that your substitution made a big impact. Arteta made 4 substitutions into the game. Yes, Marino scored the goal, but overall, your substitution killed off the game. Our substitution got us back into the game, but we weren't able to hold on to it. Immediately after, you guys showed the mentality. I do think, Terry, there's an issue with the momentum. Momentum shifts back directly to the opponent immediately after we score on a regular. And I do think that might be by design.
Yeah, look, from my point of view, I just think you got. What do you put it down to? I've already given my point of view. LB, what do you think it was on the day from Arsenal? Complacency? Do you think nerves are creeping in? Because it's been 3 games in a row and they've all followed the same pattern. Start fast, fade. Second half, they've kind of been non-existent, if that makes sense. And it seems like a different Arsenal team to maybe the previous 20 games.
I don't know. Maybe all of the above. I think Arsenal, man, like. They've got to be more ruthless. They go 1-0 up and then nothing. Yeah, nothing, man. They just pass the ball around, nothing. I mean, they don't really create a lot, even at 0-0. They weren't creating loads of chances. And I've already said, I think they're dry and the players need to start creating more. But there's like a lack of killer instinct, man. Yeah, there's a lack of killer instinct of knocking it around sideways. We know Arsenal can keep the ball. Yeah, how about go create some chances and score some goals? So I think they deserve to lose the game based on how they approached the game. But yeah, man, the football is just raw. I can't lie. I'm watching a football, man, and it's so dull. And you've got players like Saka and Odegaard on the pitch and Jesus, and why can this team not play better football when they get the ball forward? Why can't they create chances? Why they struggle so much to create chances? Why they rely so much on set pieces? I'm not saying that set pieces is bad. I wish my team would score. But why is that the only way they can seemingly score? When can they start creating chances, man? Real lack of creativity in that team. And like I say, I think you've got to have a conversation about Odegaard, man. How this guy's captain of Arsenal for me is crazy. If I was the manager, it'd be Declan Rice all day long. Declan Rice is, in my opinion, 10 times the captain that Odegaard will ever be. So why is... I just think the way he goes about the game.
You can lead by different ways. You don't necessarily have to be a rah yelling scream guy.
Yeah. Well, I'd prefer Declan Rice to be my captain if I was an Arsenal fan.
Who's your current captain?
Ours is Bernardo.
Who would you rather have as your captain instead of Bernardo?
Probably Rodri.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, Declan Rice should be the captain, man. Odegaard, man. I forgot he's on the pitch at times, man. The guy just walks around, don't do nothing. What does he actually do? Yeah, he don't score goals. He don't create goals. What does he do?
Hey, it wasn't too long ago where he was having man of the match performances on a consistent basis. He's had a couple of poor results. We've had a couple of poor results recently, 3 games in the running in the Premier League, and he's had poor showings in all 3 of them. I don't think he's shown his best, but at the end of the day, he's still the captain. He's not going to be stripped of the captaincy. And if I'm not mistaken, second in charge is not Declan Rice. Third in charge is not Declan Rice. I think Declan Rice is 4th captain choice. So right now, I don't think you're going to disrupt the team by changing Martin Odegaard as the captain. You can definitely sit him and play Odegaard, or you could play Eze. You could definitely take him out of the firing line and put somebody else in there. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that. But we are a much better side when Odegaard is at his best. When Odegaard's ticking and the team is going, what he does for the team is he's a metronome.
Yeah, but he's not at his best in a crucial part of the season.
Listen, it's January. You told me April, May is when people are worried about major issues.
Wait a sec, Egal.
It's too early to be panicking.
Egal, wait a second, bro. You've just been in a position to effectively wrap the league up.
I'm still in a position to wrap the league up. Do you know who you're playing the next 2 weeks?
Brother, you've just had this. You just had the opportunity to do it, and you're captain.
And you had the opportunity to catch me.
We'll speak about City in a second, bro. We'll speak about Arsenal. It's the Arsenal section. You've just had the opportunity to kill off the league effectively. Yeah, you could have been double digits clear. And what you're telling me is your captain is going missing in these games, getting hooked off Yeah, because he's that crap and that irrelevant to the team performance. He's getting hooked. Your captain in a crucial part of the season. That is poor. That is poor. He should not have been. I heard. I seen a video going viral of I think it was it Tony Adams speaking about how Odegaard shouldn't be the captain, and this was I think this was pre-season. I don't understand why Arteta's kept this guy as the captain, man. It should be Declan Rice, either that or Gabriel. Declan Rice, man, he never stops running. The guy marshals the midfield. He dies for the club, man. Every time he steps out on that football pitch, he would be an absolutely fantastic captain for Arsenal. Declan Rice, Odegaard, man, nah, you can't be having a captain who's getting hooked off after 50 minutes in a massive game against United at home. Crazy to me.
Okay,
Crazy.
last time I checked, you had a captain who barely played at times, who's injured, if I'm not mistaken, at one point. You don't necessarily have to be the player who's playing every single week who's the most important to be a captain. You don't need to be the best player on the team. You don't need to be the loudest voice in the room to be the captain. You just have to be the player that people respect.
If you was a footballer for Arsenal, who would you rather your captain be in that dressing room? Declan Rice or Odegaard?
I'm not in that dressing room. I don't know what.
Answer the question. If you was a football player,
I can't answer the question because I don't know.
For Arsenal, who would you rather have as captain?
Don't know. We don't know what Odegaard is like on a day-to-day basis in training.
Based on what we know, based on how we see them perform.
We can't give a fair assessment. I don't know him
You're
like that.
telling me you'd rather have Odegaard as a captain.
No, but LB, you don't know the answer. I don't know the answer. You want to know why?
I do know the answer. It'd be Declan Rice.
We're both coming up with our answers based on how we prefer a captain to be. But the reality situation is the players and the people in charge of the club have all come together and decided that this man's the captain. And the reason why they've decided that is because what they've seen within the dressing room, within the locker room, how he acts on the pitch, how he acts off the pitch. There's many different factors. It's not just, this is how a certain player acts on the pitch. That might not even be the person they want to be the captain regardless. We don't know who these guys want to be the captain. All we know is this is the current captain. I don't think if they're the ones choosing who the captain is, why does it matter if regardless you have Gabriel on the pitch, you have Rice on the pitch, you have Saka on the pitch, you have all these players on the pitch who also can lead. You don't necessarily need to be the captain to be a leader. We've seen Van Dijk be the captain, be the default captain when actually Jordan Henderson was captain and he was the one doing the yelling.
But Jordan Henderson was a good captain.
Okay, regardless, if you want to, whichever example you want to give, we all seen teams that have multiple leaders on the pitch. You don't necessarily need to be the actual captain to be a leader on the pitch. You can lead by example, regardless if you're the captain or not. To me, I think this is a whole nonsense that we constantly keep bringing up the captaincy.
Is it a nonsense? You can say, how many teams have won the Premier League?
You can say somebody's underperforming without obviously having to constantly keep bringing it back to one thing.
No, it's not about bringing. It's about having an opinion. I'm asking you, how many teams have won the Premier League with a captain that isn't performing or it shouldn't be the captain? Like, look at the captains in the last 15 years, bro. Vincent Kompany, Jordan Henderson, Fernandinho. These are captains, man. Yeah, you had United. Who was yours, Terry? You had what? Was it Rio Ferdinand?
Well, yeah, I mean, look, our captain, Vidic and Rio and Rooney were the main three guys that were our captains.
Gary Neville won a couple of leagues with you as captain.
Good captain. These are leaders. Odegaard's not a leader.
We had Roy Keane before that, Gary Neville.
Odegaard. Listen to the names that I'm saying, Egal, yeah?
Eric
These are leaders, bro. These are leaders, man. Odegaard's not a leader.
As much as you want to say that, there's different types of leaders, okay? Odegaard is the safety blanket of the team. When he's on the pitch, he's one of the guys who helps us progress the ball. He's the one who, whenever anybody's in trouble, he gets the ball under control and doesn't lose it. He's one of the main guys in the team. Whenever anybody needs anything, he's one of the guys that they come to speak to. I don't think it's a situation where we need to sit here and start talking about changing the captaincy. If you want to say you prefer Declan Rice as the captain, so be it. A lot of people prefer that style of captain. But I don't think Arsenal's just going to come and change the captaincy.
What do you prefer as a fan then? What do you prefer? What type of captain do you prefer then?
I prefer somebody who's performing on a regular basis and showing the levels necessary. And at this moment in time, if you want to say Odegaard's not showing that, fair. But I personally would not change Odegaard as captain simply because I don't think it's helpful to do that mid-season.
Did he
It's
show it
very
last year?
disruptive.
Did he
It's
show it
very
last year?
disruptive. What?
Did he show it last year?
Last year he was injured for majority of the season.
I'm checking it. He was injured for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Premier League games.
How many months was he actually injured for?
I've just told you he was injured for 7 Premier League games.
Over how many months span?
He was injured from the 15th of September to the 2nd of November. 7 Premier League games.
I don't believe it. He was impacted.
You don't believe it? It's literally on my screen, bro.
He was impacted way longer
It's literally on my screen on transfer map. What are you talking about? You don't believe it? All right, so we've reached a new low here, guys, with Egal. Transfer Max is now lying about the games that he played last season.
Odegaard last season was impacted by injuries and was not himself until the back end of the season when we were in the Champions League late stages of the season. And personally, for me, I don't think everything everyone's saying, I hear it to a certain level when it comes to creativity, when it comes to this, when it comes to that. But I also have to give our opponents a level of respect because I do think the defending in the Premier League has gotten so much better. We can see it across the board how every team approaches the games. So many teams are playing better defensively, and they're better at they're setting up low blocks. They're better at stopping Man City and Erling Haaland from scoring. Erling Haaland hasn't scored in 9 games. Phil Foden hasn't scored in 11 games. Like, we're talking about Arsenal consistently having attacking issues, but seems to be everyone across the board is scoring less goals and everybody's defenses are looking a little bit better. So as much as we criticize Arsenal, I think this is a league-wide thing where they've shifted to playing a more pragmatic style across the board, which is leading to more clean sheets across the board, which is leading to more 0-0s. And yes, Arsenal seems to be getting the most stick, the most criticism going to Arsenal, set pieces, defending. You know something? I think Manchester United and Chelsea have just as much set piece goals as we do, if I'm not mistaken, and they have a higher percentage of their goals reliant on those because we've scored more goals than them on as a totality this season. But guess what? Because Arsenal's at the top of the league, because everyone's kind of paying attention to our games, because everyone's watching our games, and yes, sometimes we don't score as many goals as the Cities and Liverpools have passed, and we do win games from set pieces or because of own goals like we did against Wolves. It's a level of criticism is put at Arsenal, which I don't think
on that. I want to put a graphic up on the screen here because I want to speak about this. How big a concern is this for you, Egal, when you look at the title race? Because when you actually break this down and look at it, Sky put some stats up. This has been repurposed by LiveScore, but no goals in the last 13 appearances in all comps for Saka. No goals in the last 13 Premier League appearances for Martinelli. No non-penalty goals in his last 11 Premier League appearances for Gyökeres. No goals in 25 Premier League games for Madueke, and only 1 goal in his last 11 appearances for Trossard. When it comes to this title race, we'll move it on from the game. When we look at this title race now, are you concerned about these numbers, and what do you think Arteta and Arsenal are going to do to rectify this?
Terry, is there a concern about players underperforming throughout the season? I don't think so. I think they've cherry-picked statistics to make these guys look worse than they actually are. I do think that. Because when you think about it, Martinelli has not been consistently starting in the Premier League. He's been starting more in the Champions League and in the Cups. In those competitions, he scored some bangers. He's been consistently scoring in the Cups. Nani Madueke single-handedly won us a game in the Champions League from his man of the match performance. But we're consistently looking at goals in the Premier League, 13 appearances. Goals, they don't tell you how many minutes they've played. They don't tell you if they've started how many games from those games. When it comes to Gyökeres, what does it say? Open play goals. Erling Haaland in his last 9 games has 0 open play goals. He scored 1 goal versus Brighton. Is Erling Haaland all of a sudden having an underperforming season? Are we looking at him as a fraud?
No, he isn't. What I would say to you as a challenge on that, though, is that yes, this weekend City have closed that gap slightly. But due to Haaland's lack of goals and due to his teammates' lack of goals, you guys did have the chance to go 9 and 11 points clear. So my question is to you, are you not concerned that if the goals don't start to improve from these players in the Premier League, we could fast forward 2 weeks and you might be only a point ahead of City, or City could be a point ahead of you because of those lack of goals from Haaland, you had the chance to go 11 points clear. lack of goals from City in general. Don't you share that same concern? And if so, how do you see it being improved? What can you do to get more goals out of these players, Egal?
Terry, Saka is still producing man of the match performances without getting goals and assists. Look at the game against Fulham. Look at the game against Wolves. I'm not worried about Saka. Gyökeres, we need to see better, but I do think the whole team needs to do better at creating better chances for the likes of Gyökeres, Jesus, Trossard. I thought Trossard has been doing well. I don't know where they just cherry-picked this stat once again for him. And then Noni Madueke and Martinelli, we know their backups. I'm not too concerned about them and their Premier League numbers. When they start games in the Champions League, they play well. Overall, Terry, I'm more concerned about the overall patterns and how we create chances rather than individual scoring goals, because we're going to spread out the goals throughout the whole team. If we win the league and we have every single player on 9 to 10 goals, I don't really mind. We're not going to have a 20-goal scorer.
Okay, and no one's saying you should. No one's saying you should. And yes, Martinelli's doing very well in the Champions League, and some of these players have scored in the Champions League. But no one's really criticizing your Champions League campaign. I actually think when you watch Arsenal in the Champions League, even when you watch Arsenal in the Carabao Cup against Chelsea, you look at a different team. I feel like there is an element of pressure that your fan base is part of the problem here. And I know I don't want to sound like an Arteta outer. And what I mean by that is it's the guys that are normally supportive. You guys have a bad couple of games and the panic that sets in. People go on about heritage, and it's become like the buzzword heritage. What I've always viewed heritage as being, part of it is fan base is staying relaxed. Part of it is fan base is knowing you can turn things around. If you listen to the Santiago Bernabeu and all those Champions League games from a couple of seasons backwards, yes, they would whistle at bad things. They put pressure on their team, but there was never any anxiety in the stadium because they knew their team was capable at any minute of turning it around. When I listen to Arsenal fans at the moment, you can see it coming out of people. And I feel like that's an issue. I think, I don't think you're going to have a problem knocking Chelsea out of the League Cup. You're going to play this dead rubber for you in the Champions League. You're probably going to score 4 or 5 goals and look really good. But the league has got, as those league games, your players cross that white line in the league games. The players and your fans collectively, and I think fans are important here. If people don't want to think fans are important in football, you do you. But the behavior on socials, the behavior in the stadium, there's a nervousness in those games. There isn't in the others. So for me, that's why these stats are important in the short term, because those players collectively have got to get back to scoring goals. That's the way because even if City keep messing up, if those guys don't start scoring goals, you're not going to take an advantage. And by the way, mate, I want you to win. I don't buy into this narrative that Arsenal are crap and shit or anything like this. But we can't ignore the last 3 or 4 games. We can't ignore it as a talking point. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that Arsenal fans have to let all this PTSD come out. There's a balance here personally for me, looking on the outside in.
100%. And I don't like the apocalyptic approach to every single drop point. It's do or die. Everything's done. It's honestly ridiculous. We've had a little blip, 3 games in a row where we have drop points. Man City have had 4 games in a row where they've dropped points, and they've kind of simultaneously happened around the same time. So people are more freaking out. But my main thing is, look at it this way. Game week 18, City were 2 points behind us. Now they're 4 points behind us, and they have tougher fixtures in the next 2 games. We have an opportunity to go and beat Leeds away from home, play our next game. I think is it Brentford or Sunderland at home? One of them. I think it's Sunderland at home. If we win those 2 games, we're going to be good. And my main thing, Terry, I think a lot of the fan fiction around social media is Arsenal going to bottle it. Arsenal going to bottle it. Arsenal's demise is coming. This and that. They're just waiting for us to drop off. That's not coming this year, because I think the squad depth is going to see us through, regardless what people say about Noni Madueke and all these other guys. They were helping us win games when a lot of our key players were out of the team. When a lot of our key players were out of the team earlier in the season, and we're still getting results. Now that we have a fully fit squad going forward, I just see our quality throughout the team is going to get us through. When it comes to the past seasons, bottling in the past seasons, we've already spoken about those. I don't think that has anything to do with this, but the fans need to start acting like it, because we have the quality, we have the players, we have guys like Declan Rice, Saliba, Gabriel, Saka. These guys are not quitters. They're not just going to give up on us. We're not playing with Rob Holding, Eddie Nketiah, and these guys anymore. So stop acting like every single drop point is a referendum on the whole entire club and start backing the team. Because I do think the nervousness comes from the style of play slightly, and that can be fixed also from Arteta and the boys out there on a regular basis. But as a collective, if we don't support them, who's going to get them through these tough games? I remember a couple of years ago, Saliba made a mistake, gave away a goal, an own goal. Everyone got up and started clapping him. He does that today, they're booing him.
I think the thing is, though, at the same time, your fan base has got PTSD, bro. You know what I mean?
I can't help it.
No, you can't help it, but that's just a fact, isn't it? I think, in fact, your fan base has PTSD, and I think a lot of people know that there's a lot of pressure because ultimately, it's put up or shut up time for Arteta and this Arsenal team, because you can't just keep on, not winning stuff and bottling stuff and that. So there's a lot of pressure on Arsenal. They're probably they probably got the most pressure out of any team in the Premier League this season.
LB, I'll give you a prediction. Not even trying to be cocky. The end of February, going into March, if you guys are still like 3 to 4 points behind us, then everyone will be even more nervous. It'll be more nerve-wracking. If we don't extend this lead to at least 7 to 8 or maybe 10 before April, May, it will be a situation where everyone will believe you can win. And the longer we keep you in it, the more it gives you life. Because we need to kill you off. At the end of the day, it's like a title fight. Unless we come and knock you out or make it convincing that we're going to win, everyone in my fan base is always going to be nervous.
Yeah, and I think that's why a lot of your fan base has been rattled over the last 2 weeks, because you had the opportunity to do that and you've not done it. So now people are like getting stressed.
I think it's stupid. Kicking on. But I think it's stupid because they're rattled for games where it's like, oh my God, we're gonna drop points. City's gonna catch us. Well, you fucking idiots! We just made it a 2-point gap 2 weeks in a row. We just improved for a 2-point gap to a 7-point gap, and all of a sudden these guys are bitching and whining after we drop points. Then you go and drop points, and then they're like, we got lucky. And then when we go and drop points again, they're like, it's the end of the world again. And the dynamic of making it seem like it's the end of the world after every drop point is making us, I think, the fans and the players on the pitch feel the nervousness. I went to the Brighton game, and I'll tell you this: it was a weird experience because after that last 10 minutes, you felt everyone kind of be like, "Yo, nervous," or they didn't want to celebrate too much. They just knew something wrong could happen because it was not too long ago we had that Wolves game where it was like very shaky also.
But that's up to the players and the manager to get the fans. The fans are not playing the match. The fans have watched Arsenal bottle leagues and bottle trophies for the last number of years. Yeah. So now
I do think the fans have a part to play.
That's correct. However, they respond to what's going on the pitch. So when you go 1-0 up against United, the Arsenal fans want to see Arsenal peppering United's goal, taking the game to them. It's like, they don't want to see them sit back. Because what's that do? That deads the crowd. The crowd can't get gassed and make a load of noise when they're just passing it around the back four. So this is where it comes back to the players and the manager. I think this is why Arteta has got a bit of stick up for that game against United, because he the way that he's got the team playing is a negative, and that feeds into the fans in the stadium. Yes, a negative vibe because it's dead football, man.
I don't think it's too negative because at the end of the day,
it's negative. Oh, come on, Egal, man. What are we doing here?
We watch Arsenal in the Champions League. We're not negative, bro. I do think a large portion of it is also how teams.
It's a different competition.
No. Regardless, the point being, we played similar. The difference is teams don't play the same way in the Premier League. In the Premier League, teams definitely set up a lot more negative against us, which then makes it look like we're negative. But reality, we're just struggling to break them down a little bit, and we find any way to break down the door.
So what I'm hearing, right, from your point of view, are you not feeling that worried at all about City? Because do you where's your head at in terms of the title race, Egal? Yes, there's always going to be a nervousness there. I understand.
You have more problems than us, Terry.
So you're quite relaxed still, that you're in a strong position. You're not too concerned about the last few weeks. You think you'll extend it further?
I think we should click into gear now, and we should start firing and seeing ourselves get into a better run of games. We've had 3 tough games, As much as everyone wants to look at these past 3 games, you don't look at the quality of opponent. Liverpool, they won the league last year. As bad as they've been this season against the top teams, they showed up against Arsenal twice this season, in my opinion. Then you go to Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest set up very well defensively. Sean Dyche is one of the best managers to stifle teams and set up good defensive blocks. And then you have a Manchester United team who just beat your team, embarrassed your team, and came to our house and beat us also. You could call a new manager bounce, you can call it whatever you want, but they're invigorated by the manager being sacked and having a new manager in. If we see a repeat performance now against Leeds away, then I'll be fucking concerned, Terry. I'm sorry for swearing, but I'll be extremely concerned at that point. Right now, I'm not too nervous. Right now, I'm telling everyone, calm down, relax. There's no need to for everyone to go crazy. But at the same time, on the pitch, we need to see slightly better performances, because what we're seeing in the Champions League compared to what we're seeing in the league, I do think that is down to the style of play from the Premier League and the teams in the Premier League and how they approach us, Terry. It's not all of a sudden we're not just a bad team. We've scored 42 goals. How do we score 42 goals if we're not attacking? How are we in first place in the league if all of our players are terrible?
About 20 corners, that's why.
You want to know something? If you score a goal from a corner, or you score from a penalty, or you score from a free kick, it's the same thing.
Now, very true, Egal. Very true. Goal's a goal, isn't it? A goal's a goal. Goal's a goal. No, but I would be concerned with those stats that Terry pulled up, man. Like, there's no way of getting around that. They are terrible, terrible stats. You know what I mean? It's not just over the last couple of games. That tells me that there is a fundamental problem with this system, because it's not just that all these players are out of form. Something's not right with the way the team's set up, because that, if a couple of them are on zero, all right, maybe a couple of them are in bad form, yeah. But yeah, obviously I can't see the bottom on Gyökeres and Madueke because of the straight fat logo, but I imagine it's something similar, 10, 11, 12 games or something, yeah. Like that is a system thing, bro. It's either a system thing or they all just stink at the same time. So which one is it?
I think they're just cherry picking stats. I could pull up the same stats for your players.
But we're talking about your players, right? You always like to do this, come out of City. We're talking about Arsenal.
No, but I'm just saying, I don't think this is indicative of our actual problems. If they score goals or not, Saka has not scored goals or assisted and still won us games. Similar thing with Nani Madueke. He's had man of the match performances where he didn't score a goal or an assist versus Nottingham Forest at home. I don't think this is the exact issue. For them to point out these 5 players and say, oh, they're not scoring enough goals. Whatever. We score goals across the whole team. I have players in my team that are defenders that have more goals than some of your attackers. So in my opinion, I don't think this is a big talking point.
So you don't think that it's a talking point that all of your attackers don't score goals in the last 10 plus games?
That's not true. They've specifically pointed out non-penalty goals, all competitions where some of them have sat. They've said only Premier League. They've put Nani Madueke. Some of those games are in Chelsea, bro.
Okay, but the facts are the facts. In the Premier League, yeah, in the last 10 plus games, you've got 1 goal from open play out of all these players on the screen. You don't think that's an interesting talking point to discuss?
How did we win those games? How did we score 4 goals versus? How did we score 4 goals versus Aston Villa? How did we score 3 goals versus Bournemouth? How did we score 2 goals versus Man United? As much as you want to talk about that, in my opinion, this is overblown. We scored. Yes, Gabriel scored from in the Aston Villa game, but we also had, if I'm not mistaken, Zubimendi, Trossard, Jesus in that game. Then you look at the game versus Bournemouth. Declan Rice stepped up. Gabriel scored a set piece. Other players can step up. There's many different ways to win a game. You don't need these 5 guys to step up every game. This is why you have a problem.
They're not stepping up in any game. That's the whole point.
This is why you have a problem. This is why Liverpool have a problem now, because you don't have that one metronome that can win you every game. Arsenal are built where any single one player is out of the team, the rest of the team can still step up. Where City, Erling Haaland goes missing for a couple of weeks, you're screwed. Same way with Liverpool, Mo Salah's not performing like supernova like he was last season. They're no longer competitive. To me, Mikel Arteta built a team that is bulletproof with different injuries. That's what we've prepared for. He's been through the season where one striker goes down and you're screwed. We're not overly relying on one individual to give us all the goals.
On that, what do you make of this from Rio Ferdinand, gents? I want to ask you your opinion on this, because he's come out and said that Arsenal, he says, you lot, as in Arsenal, are so lucky that everyone else is so shit and inconsistent. Is this a narrative that's fair, LB, to Arsenal right now? They're top of the league. They're on similar points at this stage as to most of the champions in the last 5 or 6 years. But there seems to be, alongside these last few games, this narrative that Arsenal are only really top because City and Liverpool and Chelsea's are not performing at their optimum level. Do you think this is fair on Arsenal, or is it over the top?
I mean, it's probably true. Yeah. Is it fair? Maybe the way it's worded isn't fair, because at the end of the day, if you're top of the league, you're top of the league. You've been the best team in the league. That's just a fact. It's probably true. If you have a prime City, a prime Liverpool, prime whatever team, you know what I mean? The obviously City and Liverpool are not doing too well this year. Don't think Arsenal are the best team we've ever seen. But so it is probably true. But at the end of the day, it don't matter, because they're top of the league. They win the league. They win the league. Don't matter about anybody else.
Terry, you know what happened? All the former Manchester United players under Sir Alex Ferguson got a text message from each other. This is the agenda for the week. Let's just keep saying this. I seen him say it. I seen Phil Jones say it. I seen, Paul Scholes say it. They just all say the same thing. And you know what? You guys enjoyed the game versus Arsenal at the Emirates. It might just be a thing where the team that wins the league just has to lose to Man United at one point throughout the season. Because if I'm not mistaken, the last couple of years, City, Liverpool all lost at least one game or dropped points to you guys, and they still won the league. But when it comes to the most inconsistent team, can you put up the graphic for a second? If I'm not mistaken, I could just translate that into saying the most consistent team wins the league. So if you're saying you're lucky that everyone else is inconsistent and shit, then the least inconsistent team and the least shit team wins. So isn't that just the best team? Isn't that just another way of saying the best team wins?
Yeah, I don't think he worded it particularly right. I do think he's right, though. But yeah, the way he's worded it is a bit weird. At the end of the day, if Arsenal win the league, the best team in the league. That's just
and
it.
Also, he's discrediting his own previous teams by saying this. Because if we look back at previous leagues, we can also judge them under the same microscope if you want to do that.
Yeah, I do agree with that, Egal, to be fair with you, because from my point of view, I think a lot of it, I don't think you're overly wrong. It's this, okay, podcast will get recorded on a Monday. Let's all say this about, it's kind of weird that like so many, it could be that all these podcasts, ex-players, Sky Sports, fans, all say the same thing because they're right, or it could be they all say the same thing now because they know the clips go viral and attention is currency, as it were. But the reason I don't play this game is because that logic can be used against you. Would we have won the league in 2007 if Chelsea were as good as the 2005 team that only conceded 15 goals? The answer is maybe no, right? So therefore, does that discredit the 2007 league title? You can keep, would Man United have won so many leagues in the 90s if Liverpool from the 80s were still at their peak? Or that's why I don't play the game, because
Terry, can I say one thing?
We can all just keep discrediting each other's, and we've got all the way back to the Invincibles of Preston in the 1920s, right? None of us would be winning the league if Preston hadn't fallen off in the 20s. So I don't really play the game, and I think that there's certain things that I do think are a concern right now, and I agree with LB. In the Premier League, Arsenal struggling to create the clear-cut chances to score goals, and that needs to be worked on. I think some of that is mentality, and I think some of that is the system. And I think the mentality plays into the fans as well. I agree with all of that. At the same time, I'll finish mine, then I'll come to you, mate. And then I also feel that there's like a bit of an agenda. One of the stats that I did see was Arsenal. It was worded as Arsenal were the 17th worst team in the league at scoring from open play, and a bell went off in the back of my head. And that can't be right, because I did a piece on this 5 weeks ago, and they were like number 5. They're actually the 6th best team in the league at scoring from open play, 20 goals from open play. To put it into context, I think Brighton are 5th with one more, 21. I think they've got like United and Chelsea and a few others are on 23, 24, 25. Liverpool 25, they're in 2nd place. And then City are on 30. But the stat was heavily manipulated because it's a percentage of goals from open play. And where it's fugazi is like a team like Wolves has 62% of its goals from open play, but it's because they've got like one set piece goal, one penalty, and no counter attacks. They've barely scored any goals, but what they have done is scored from open play. So I think there are some stats, and I've always called these types of things out right the way back when they showed the Pogba walking stats, but they didn't compare it to any other player. And FootMob were actually doing running stats earlier on this season. They did it for the first 2 games of the season, and it was showing actually that most top players, like in midfield, walk for about 25 minutes, walk around the pitch for about 25 minutes of a game. So there are some things that I think are a little harsh, and everyone piles on Arsenal. But that's why I go back to what I said. You and your fans, as a collective, have got to keep your composure. And I'm going to keep giving this analogy all week. I'm teaching my kids to do little chores, so they might take. Jackson will come in at some point soon. He'll go, Daddy, can I take your cup out? They like doing things for your kids. Now, this mug isn't too bad. It won't hurt him if it drops, but he carried a glass for me the other day, and I was really nervous as he was carrying it down the hallway, through the living room, and into the kitchen. Why was I nervous? One, I said, hold it tight, and he had it really tight. And not that tight. You'll cut your hands if it breaks. Also, I'm nervous he's going to drop it. But this is what you guys are doing to your club. But imagine me doing this to my son in that scenario. It's like me walking behind him the whole time, shouting at him, don't drop it. You'll cut your toes off. Don't drop it. You'll bust your legs. Don't drop it. Don't drop it. You guys have got to stop doing that. It is not going to help you. Forget that idiocy that, some Madrid fans smash car windows in the car park. Do you know Madrid do not have so many Champions Leagues because a handful of thugs smash windows? That is not why they're good at football. All this nonsense has to stop. And I think what you guys have got to do is actually suppress your feelings a little bit. Because sometimes, as my dear old Nan would say, if you ain't got nothing nice to say nothing at all. And I mean it from the perspective that I don't think it's helping you. There's a fire. You've got to put it out. What you man are doing is you're throwing petrol on it. Or gas if you're in America, or kerosene, whatever you guys call it, right? You're throwing petrol on it. And for everyone watching, other than real Man United fans, we don't want City winning the league. For everyone else, it's hilarious because it's like there's a problem. There's this little mountain. There's this little molehill. Suddenly it's a massive mountain. Calm it down. Slow it down. Stop attacking your own club so much. I know you don't do it, Egal, but that's the thing for me because everyone else is coming for you.
But at the same time, though, yeah, if that person was holding the mug with the hot coffee or whatever example you was using, right, and you're nervous but if you've already seen them drop the cup 3 times in a row, you would be nervous because they've done it before. And that's the whole point. Arsenal bottled this league. They failed to win this league for a number of years. And some Arsenal fans now are starting to get nervous because they've got the PTSD that's going to happen.
How many times have you bottled it?
Oh, okay.
You failed to win the league on a number of occasions
when people say bottle it, they just say it. But
you should have won it last year.
You could have won it the year before in a position that we were supposed to win the league.
You've had 3 attempts to win it. You've won none, and at the same time, you've also won 0. No. The fact is, you could have won the league 3 years in a row. You've not won it once, and you've won no other trophy.
When were we able to win it last year?
What do you mean? To start the season, when you go into the season?
Oh, last time I checked, when we talk about bottling something, it means you are significantly ahead and then you drop off. And
okay, let me rephrase. You could have won the league the last 3 years. You failed to win it the last 3 years, and you've also won 0 trophies for the last 3 years.
Okay, because I just feel like at this point, people just say things, and the whole bottle thing. If you want to say we bottled it when we were in 2022, 2023, when we were ahead by a decent point, and there was a World Cup in the middle of the season, and obviously Man City turned into a different animal second half of the season, and we just weren't good enough. Or if you want to say the season when we went to the final day of the season, we bottled it because you couldn't win on the final day of the season, or you couldn't win it because you lost Aston Villa. I honestly don't think those really correlate. Last season we had injuries. You can't say we bottled it last season because we had injuries. And the whole thing, the new thing, Terry, that I heard in the last 48 hours is that Arsenal winning the league is a referendum to football. Since when? There was a Chelsea fan named Pav who did a 2-minute long video explaining why Arsenal winning the league is a referendum to football, and the set pieces and the way that we corner, the way that we score goals from corners, crowding goalkeepers, and winning games through set pieces and own goals is a referendum on football. And if Arsenal win the league playing this type of football, it will champion other teams to play this type of football to try to win. And last time I checked, historic teams are across World Cups, Euros, and in other leagues across the world have played defensive style football to win league titles. So why is it any different from Arsenal playing with set pieces? And it's ironic coming from a Chelsea fan who used to make fun of Arsenal fans for playing good football and not winning leagues.
I agree, but what you guys have got to do is, respond to that stuff in your own time, but don't allow that to cloud the judgment around your club. Well, LB, what you said, by the way, about the cup thing, I do agree. I get why they feel the way they feel. But equally, if I just go back to the example of teaching my son, I have to hold that in sometimes. I'm nervous. My son was learning to dive into a swimming pool last year. He smacked his shins a couple of times jumping in, hurt himself, but I wanted to encourage him to keep doing it. I was really nervous he was going to do it again, but I have to hold back that nerves, because if I start showing them, he's going to get nervous and mess up. And I think there are times, and I know that as content creators, everyone does this weird gimmick of you've got to speak the whole truth, the full truth, and nothing but the truth at all times. I just don't think that's real life, because we all, LB, I'm the hypothetical here, so she's listed that if your missus has a dress on that you think makes her look a certain way, if you know she loves how she looks in it, you ain't telling her. I'm not saying she ever does. Hypothetical. You're not going to go, nah, love, you look an absolute state. If you know what's good for you. If she really does look really bad, you might, because you might not want her to go out looking a certain way. But if she loves it and she's loving herself in it, you're going to go, yeah, look, you look great, babe. There are times in life where you don't speak the truth, you hold back, right? And I just think Arsenal fans have got to get the balance a little bit better at the moment to help their team. And it's easy for me to say, because I'm not emotionally invested in Arsenal, although I do want them to win the league. But look, great points from both of you. I want to jump into these super chats here because we've got quite a few. Dean here says, wait till Arsenal draw with Leeds and City beat Spurs. There will be a bigger head loss. That'd be a crazy weekend, wouldn't it, boys?
That would be very, very nice. Can't lie.
I tell you what's going to be a crazier weekend is when Spurs beat City, Leeds beat Arsenal, United win, and our title charge begins. That's going to be... We're going to do it. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. Thank you, Luke, for encouraging everybody to hit the like button. I appreciate that a lot. Kenny says United players are applying for their jobs. Keep it up. Yeah, I still wouldn't trust some of them beyond next season, but there we go. Arsenal should have loaned out Odegaard and kept Ethan Nwaneri. He scored in his debut, didn't he?
I don't understand why Ethan wasn't
The
given
French league is so much easier.
More time. Well, bro, you know what's mad, yeah? Is that I clocked, yeah, that like you literally defend everything, right? And then you're almost sort of like slagging off Ethan there in a way, because instead of saying, you know what, yeah, maybe we could have kept him or whatever, or there was a mistake, you give him a backhanded compliment there by saying, "Is the French league is dead?" Like that is, I think that's wrong, bro. That's wrong. Can you criticize anything your club ever does, or no?
No, I think it's a good loan for him, and I think he's going to come back a better player. I just don't think there's game time for him here.
Well, why did you have to say that though? Why did you have to say?
And if we win the league, and if we win the league, he still gets a winner's medal because he played more than 5 Premier League games.
Why did you have to word it like that then?
I didn't say anything. I think you're looking.
You did. You said, "Oh, the French league is well easier." Like, why do you have to say
because
that?
It is.
He's like, "Oh, he's doing a good job." Like, why do you have to say it like that?
1 second, did I say something wrong? It is.
I think what you just said then was wrong. Yeah, I do.
Bro, I seen Balogun.
I'll call you out now. I think
One
what you just said was wrong.
1 second. There's a reason why I said this. I seen a guy named Balogun, Florian Balogun, who couldn't start for Arsenal, go to the French league, bag 18 goals, and then couldn't do it ever again.
Okay, so you're just gonna
you tell me
you've got blanket now on everyone from French, yeah, from French league.
I've got to back LB here. How can you say it's a good loan for him, but then also say it's a shit league?
No, because he's going to find it easier to get more game time. He's going to find it easier to develop and get more minutes under his belt. I don't think the physicality is not the issue. I just don't think the quality across the board, there's not as much quality in the French league.
Okay. So is that a bad loan then that you sent him to?
It's a good loan because he gets minutes, he gets to play, he gets to improve his craft. But and the physicality is still there, but I just don't think the quality across the board, like the parity across the teams, is nowhere near the level of the Premier League. You have defenders in the Premier League that would start for Real Madrid that are currently playing for Nottingham Forest. I think Murillo would be starting for any team.
I think you should have kept him personally, and I would have given him a lot more game time if I was Arteta. I think he's a good player.
Hey, last time I checked, you had a guy named Phil Foden who was highly touted. How many years did it take for him to actually start?
His second season.
You had a guy called Phil Foden, like we don't know who he is. Like you talk about Gal Kakuta at Chelsea. Garrett here says Teta needs to stop asking natural centre-backs to be crossers. Hincapié and Timber are 9% on accuracy. Teta isn't playing our techie profiles in higher areas like he did with Eze against Spurs anymore, is what Garrett says there. Really good insight there. Egal, happy for his captain to be a therapist.
I think there's an element of every captain having to go around and tell people chill.
Tell the Sky graphic was done disingenuously. You can do the same with every team. Bernardo hasn't scored since May. I don't disagree. But this is the thing. You say big up, but I think you're misreading it, guys. I do believe some stats are problematic, and I also don't think it should be. I agree with Arsenal fans. This shouldn't be you're a shit team. I've seen a certain Chelsea fan the last couple of days go, I told you how crap they were. I'm like, yeah, they're still like, nearly 20 points ahead of you. It's crazy. Arsenal aren't crap. What I'm looking at, yeah, you're right. Bernardo ain't scored since May. I know Semenyo started scoring now, but that's the reason they bought him, because other players weren't scoring, just Haaland. And when his goals started to dry up, City were dropping points. The question is, if your front line don't start scoring more goals as a collective, so yes, it doesn't need Gyökeres to get 15 goals between now and the end of the season, but if they don't start scoring again soon, there is a chance you drop more points. That's an honest conversation, Gareth.
I got a hot take about Gyökeres. He should have started. We should not be seeing Jesus start. I think Gyökeres should have started. We missed him in the beginning of the game. He would have offered us more than Jesus.
Gyökeres is crap though, bro. He don't do nothing, innit? Like,
you guys say that. You say that. Keep saying that.
I mean, the literal numbers tell me that. But the thing is, like, he's not working right now. He's underperforming. So what do you do? What do you go with?
I think he takes more pressure off the wingers because he occupies the strikers. He occupies the center backs more as an actual focal point as a striker instead of Jesus, who's drifting.
Havertz do that though.
No, man.
Havertz can't do that.
Havertz can do that too, but Havertz is not fit.
Yeah, but when he's fit, do you think Havertz will get that position?
We'll have to wait and see. At this moment in time, out of Jesus and Gyökeres, I'd rather start Gyökeres.
Okay. I mean, they both didn't do nothing against United. They're both poor, weren't they?
Yeah,
great clearance from Gyökeres at the end. Did you see it?
It was a class clearance, man. Fair play to him, mate. John Terry styles. You know what I mean?
That was poor. That was poor.
Put his body on the line.
Did you see that footage? I can't play it because it's all the clips I've seen have footage from the game on it, and I get copyright. Have you seen the footage of the watch-alongs being done somewhere? Yeah, and when Gyökeres got brought on as a sub, there was the United fans celebrating.
Yeah, I did see that.
That's going to bite them back in the ass when we win the league.
Well, no, because you're not competing.
Not unless Gyökeres is the one that like carries you to the league.
Well, no, but I want you to win the league. Egal. Sometimes there are things that are funny. Like that can't be used as serious analysis, but that can be used as, oh, that's funny. Ronin here says, ladies, find someone who talks about you like Gaslight talks about Martin Odegaard. That's dedication. Rice would be a far better captain. We have run a poll on this, by the way. We run a poll.
Oh, yeah.
Nearly about 600 votes in. Rice is winning it. It's who should be Arsenal's captain. Rice with 83%, Odegaard with 12%, Saka with 4%.
Chat no ball.
Does it make sense to change it mid-season?
No, he shouldn't have been a captain this season. He should have been a captain last season. But I agree. Changing it mid-season, I probably wouldn't have done that. But he wouldn't have been a captain in my choice anyway. But big up chat no ball, man.
Oh, sorry. You might say it's negative, but that's the same star has gotten us to this point. Yeah, listen, I don't. Yeah,
you know what? I watched the video Dan Potts did with Lee Judges, right? And Lee Judges said something that I thought was basically spot on. He said, the reason Arsenal are top of the league and 4 points clear is because of Arteta. But the reason Arsenal are not 13 or 14 points clear is because of Arteta. And I thought it was a very, very, very fair point. You know what I mean?
Ooh, it's deep. That's deep.
It's deep, but I actually think it's legit.
Yeah, that's deep. I advise.
He can't accept nothing, bro. The guy just shakes his head at everything, man. Like, there's a compliment in there and a negative, but you still can't accept it. Anything negative to do with Arsenal or your manager, you're just like, nope. Even if it's balanced and there's a positive in there as well.
I advise everyone who hasn't already had to go and read Arteta's press conference for tomorrow's game. I haven't read it. In fairness, what I will say is a positive for Arteta. What I will say is a real big positive. He gets a lot of stick for not doing this. He came straight out after the United game and said, "I take full responsibility." I thought that was a good moment from him, if that made sense.
Okay, did you see that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Humble,
It was good.
Good. He needs to accept when he's made a massive mistake.
The Rio narrative is unfair to Arsenal, but not Egal. We remember last year, keep the same energy based on your opinions. We're lucky. I will agree with this Liverpool supporter. As I said it to Gooners last year, don't push the narrative they only won because it's a crap league, because it'll just get reversed on you next year. Like, sometimes play the longer game in these conversations.
Hey, to the Liverpool fans, I'll tell you this. You and your club and our club are the only clubs in football history who've had to deal with this.
What do you mean? Hang on. I put a graphic up earlier today, right? Have you seen the graphic that's going around about it? There's a little bit of the could United win the league nonsense. Fergie's got 5 Premier League title winning medals from being between 10 to 12 points behind the leaders around this stage of the season, going on to win it. I tweeted Fergie is the GOAT. And the amount of people that responded with, yeah, and I've heard this since I was a child, Egal. Yeah, but you bought the referees, you paid the referees, the lie. I mean, I scored Wolfie on it last week. He ended up with egg on his face. Oh, you just outspent everybody. And all these things have been lies. The idea that it's only lies now that are spread about teams winning today is wrong. It's always existed. It's just you see it more now.
This specific narrative.
Yeah, okay, this specific narrative, yes, but it changes all the time, People now still, there are City fans whose club are under investigation for cheating that go, yeah, but you bought refs, as if our thing's real. Yours is a real investigation.
Did people say to Chelsea, this is an ugly way to win the league back in the...
Yes. They were referred to, especially in London where I lived, they used to get called Rich Man Stoke.
Ooh,
Chelsea, when we won the Champions League, I remember getting texts off of Arsenal friends of mine, Liverpool friends of mine. Everyone wanted Man United to, maybe not in Manchester for LB's point of view, but in London, no one wanted Chelsea to win. And I remember that the consistent message back then, 2008, everyone, football won, because people didn't like the way Chelsea had their money and stuff. They didn't like how Chelsea played football. So these things have existed since I can remember.
Won, though, it was celebrated.
Yeah, well, that was because they were toppling Manchester United.
It was the most boring league in
yeah,
Europe,
true.
Bro, at the end of the day, Egal, if people are slagging your club off when you're top of the league, you should just take it. It means you're doing something right, man. Don't have to take everything so to heart, bro. Like, it's a good thing. My club gets cooked all the time. Cheaters, oil money, checkbook manager, 115. Boring league, play boring football. We got that for years.
The thing is,
115 is true, though. That's really happening.
When you talk about Arsenal, it feels like a personal attack.
How is it a personal attack? What?
I don't know. Maybe that's just me, the way I take it.
Yeah, you take stuff too hard, too seriously.
Well, what I will say about Egal does have some people that do go for him a little bit too harsh personally online. So I get why you feel that way, and that's got to stop. Just, when I call you a mug or a muppet, I mean it in a friendly way. Do you know what I mean? So I remember your fans. That's right. I remember telling fans a year ago when Rivals said, we'll give you respect once you win it. It's all bollocks. They're already moving the goalpost from we can't, won't win to the worst winners. Mike, but this is where I agree with Arsenal fans, and this is why I do killing the game. When pundits do it, I get annoyed because pros shouldn't be doing that, but they're cheap and they're copying fan content. When Rivals do it, laugh and enjoy it. Remember, people doing that is because they fear you on some level. They fear you on some level, because none of us do this to teams we don't fear. So enjoy it and embrace it. When I see City fans, when I see Luke, again, I don't know Luke, never met him. The United Stand guys have, and I know them well. And they're like, he's a lovely bloke. So I'm taking it on face value. You might have met him. He seems like a nice guy. When I see him lie about Fergie every time he does a debate on it, I chuckle, because I think the fact you've got to lie about my guy tells me he's better. You wouldn't need to. I don't need to lie about Paul Scholes being better than Gerrard. I could just speak facts about Scholesy. I don't need to do what Hussein did, where he's like, no one even thought Paul Scholes was good until 5 years after he retired. Again, I just laugh at it because we all know it isn't true. So you've got to learn to do that rather than reacting. Join me on my shows. Keep watching always and laugh. It's great fun.
This guy Egal, gets rattled when people are being nice to his team. I seen him on his channel yesterday. I was watching Egal's channel yesterday, and Egal, you can't say I'm lying. You was moaning at some guy for being negative about your club, and then another guy said he rates Arsenal highly. He reckons they can win the treble, and then you started sending shots for him as well, saying,
because he's setting us up for failure."
See what I mean? So you can't praise Arsenal. You can't be negative.
He said we should win the treble minimum.
He said, did you watch the full video? The guy said, I rate Arsenal highly. I think they're mega in Europe and the top of the Premier League. I think that they can win the treble this year.
Oh, the Lee Hendry for him. The Lee Hendry comment.
He's setting us up for failure. You don't see it.
Whoa, so nobody can win. Someone's negative against Arsenal.
So they can break you down.
Wait a second. So somebody's negative against Arsenal. You're going to cook them and saying they're being too negative, yeah? And then when someone's positive and say, I rate their team highly, I think they can win the treble, you start moaning at them as well, saying they're setting us up to failure. So nobody can win. Nobody can say anything about Arsenal without you moaning about it. That's the fact.
No, there's a lot of people who say adequate, normal things. But when you sit here and start saying quads and trebles, no Arsenal fan sitting here saying, guarantee we're going to win a quad or a treble. But these guys start putting that out there.
He said he thinks
these guys start putting that out there. Then you start getting live score making tweets, and then Prime Video, all these guys making tweets. And then next thing you know, it's Arsenal fans said they're going to win a treble. Arsenal fans said they're going to win a quadruple. And it's just like, it's spreading a lie. It's similar to what happened with Liverpool.
Yeah, there is, again, I will say that there is an element in here. I thought what Lee Hendry said, I don't think it's his opinion, the producers, it's they should win it minimum. You can't say that. Could you win a treble this year? Yeah, I think there is a possibility you could. But saying if you've got to do that as a minimum is a very different compliment. But I also saw a video the other day of a Sky host asking, I think it was Slobosly, like, how do you feel going up against the champions this weekend? And he went, and I think Slobosly said, we're the champions. He went, well, yeah, Arsenal are pretty much there. And the comments were, Arsenal fans are so arrogant. I'm like, hang on, there's a fucking presenter. So there is a bit on both sides here. I do find it hilarious to watch. I do. Egal, don't act like Liverpool's friend. All of last season, you just said the only reason you won, insert one of the multiple reasons. You did do it as well last year, didn't you, Egal? Be honest.
This is called accountability. I was being a hater. Simple. You guys
man was going around acting like Brooklyn Beckham. Terry, explain the origins of bottling it to LB, please. LB knows where it comes from. Cockney rhymings.
Garrett, just win a trophy, man. There's real talk in it. Like, we're actually all bored. Like, low key, I actually want Arsenal to win a trophy.
LB knows what bottling looks like. He's seen it many times.
Our fans should continue to be unapologetic, unbearable, critique when it's due, but don't be cucks for rivals. Look at the reactions to the United game.
100%. And I do think, Terry, there is an element that you guys have nothing else to play for. So United, this means more to you.
Don't put that Liverpool tagline near my club, please, bro. Don't do that. But yeah, I mean, look, it is all we're playing for, but let's not pretend that teams don't try and win. Typically speaking, don't try and win every game they play in. I saw a Liverpool fan, LFC girl. She fucking, have you seen her TikToks in that? She talks very weird. She says words like society. She's funny, but she was going on about, she was doing that whole, but it's not really a win because you're only playing one game a week. But again, that's no different to what people do to Arsenal. I just laugh at that stuff and I don't play the game. Egal, will you be happy with this version of Gyökeres for 5 seasons?
If we win the league, he could score no goals for the rest of the season.
Okay. So as long as, if you're not winning the league and you still got this Gyökeres, are you happy with him?
No, it's result-based analysis at this point. That's all that matters. It's result-based analysis. If we win the league, everything is forgiven. If we don't win the league, everything is crucified.
That's crazy.
That's basically how it is, though.
Is the manager crucified as well, Egal?
No. How dare you, LB? How dare you?
That's basically how it is, because the fan base is going to be apocalyptic. They're going to want heads to roll. If you don't need to,
but you don't need to be. I'm going to song. My kids sing this song at school. Sheep. You don't need to do that. You can be your own man.
I'm simply saying it's acceptable if Gyökeres has a poor season, his first season, and we still win the league because he would have done a job. But but at this point, I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's still going to go and kick on and maybe get double digits.
Jeez.
Maybe get double digits. That's shocking, and that's a shocking return. Like Egal's right,
Bro,
they win the league.
who in your team besides Erling Haaland
shocking.
has double digits? Noise it.
Bro, your guy's a striker.
Mbumo's one away now.
Your third highest goal scorer has 2 goals.
Bro, we're talking about your striker. You spent 65 million quid on the striker who's meant to score your goals.
Where's player of the season Phil Foden hasn't scored a goal in like 11 games? Noise.
Bro, we're talking about your striker. Why comparing?
Yeah, but you like avoiding talking about City.
We're not coming to the City section yet. We're on Arsenal.
Well, we're nearly out of time.
Oh, lucky lads. We'll come back next week. Next week, we'll talk about City later.
We'll be back. You know what? Let me ask you. You think you're going to drop points to Spurs?
Nah. It's not possible.
No chance?
Well, there's a chance, but if we do, that's shambolic, mate.
Hey.
LB, you did answer that question the same when you were playing Man United like the other week. We're going to win.
I know.
Do you know what, though? None of this surprises me. Like, I know we haven't really gone too much into City today because the chat went the Arsenal way. When I kind of get it after the weekend and everything else. But even when Arsenal were cruising and were 7 points ahead and you guys were... I kept on saying to everybody, look, chill. This is going to the wire. I never saw this as being a title race that was going to end the beginning of February. And
Terry, we could still run away with it.
You could. I just don't think you will. Especially with Gahey and Semenyo now joining. I think that's going to, if you look at quite a lot of the games where City have drawn, with Gahey in the team, with Semenyo in the team, I think more points will get picked up now. I do. But I still see you as the marginal favourites, and I haven't really changed that view.
It's the goals that Semenyo's going to add to us, man. Yeah, I mean, he's already bagged 2 since he's been here, 3. To be
fair, Arsenal hasn't clicked into gear either. So,
well, you were clicked into gear earlier on in the season.
No, we were actually playing poor, and we were still top of the league.
Early on in the season, nah, bro. You were playing.
We were pretty much playing poor. To be fair,
that's such a lie, bro. You guys were glazing it. We were talking about the best team in Europe when you played Bayern Munich that period.
Yeah, but even then, when were we scoring ridiculous goals and like what we were doing is we were living off our defense. Our defense was barely giving a chance away. We didn't concede. We conceded 1 shot the whole month in the Premier League. We win the league, it's going to be because of our defense. Simple. If you win the league, it's going to be because you outscore teams.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think that was the approach. Well, Gahey's gone into solidified. I'm excited to watch Gahey as well. It's going to make the title race great. Arsenal should have signed the Big Show instead of Gyökeres. He would have occupied defenders better, and the finishing is basically the same.
I think if Sesko or forget about that. Yeah, I think if we had Erling Haaland, he would still not score as many goals as he would at City. It's just
how many goals you reckon Haaland would have in
this
Arsenal team, bro?
It's not the Arsenal team lacks quality. It's just, I just think the system is not effective right now.
Yeah, but how many goals you reckon Haaland would have now?
I'm criticizing Arteta. You guys don't want to take the chance.
Yeah, but how many goals do you think Haaland would have in the team?
Maybe right now he has 20, probably 15.
It's pretty good, isn't it?
I'd say that's pretty decent.
I'd take that.
I think he'd have 5 to 10, 5 less, maybe.
That's not bad.
That's decent. You'd probably be top. You're probably clear. You probably won the league already.
And that's because Saka takes the penalties. So.
Oh, so if Saka's taking penalties, then he'd be on 10.
Oh.
So double Gyökeres. Still probably be 8 points clear, maybe. Interesting.
He's one of the best strikers in the world, and I'm saying if he came to this Arsenal team, he would still struggle to score goals. It just goes to tell you what I think about our chance creation for the striker. They're barely involved.
That is very fair.
Very quickly, LB, we can't do a show with you without talking a little bit of Chelsea, but they went for Douglas Luiz. He's joined Aston Villa instead. Chelsea are briefing the media that they looked at him but decided they had internal solutions that were better. Do you think potentially he's 150k a week plus image rights, so it's about 200k a week, played a part in the not signing this experienced player?
I mean, maybe. Who knows? This is one that I actually won't be cooking Chelsea on because this isn't a player that I think Chelsea should be signing anyway. So I ain't going to cook them on this one, to be honest with you, yeah. At the same time, sign some players over 22 years old, please. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, what we're doing now. But listen, let's see what this Liam Rossini does, man. I actually, like, low-key kind of want him to do well. You know, English manager. No, not many English managers in the game these days, especially at the top level. So it'd be nice to see him do well. I think he will end up struggling, but who knows, man? You know what I mean? Maybe he will do well. But yeah, I don't know. Have they not signed anyone yet? No, this transfer window.
It's a 17-year-old.
Of course. Yeah, no, they need. I don't know what they're doing now. And then I've seen rumors now about Palmer. I've seen a couple of rumors about him now saying, "Ooh, they reckon that maybe he's getting a bit bored in London and he might want to leave or something." So,
do you know what's interesting, right? Chelsea have come out again today and shut down those rumors. And in fact, the headline makes me think there might be an element of truth. This is only by the briefing, because the briefing stated that I want to make sure I read this out correctly, because it doesn't. This seems a bit over the top for a club briefing. But where's it gone?
It's Luis Suarez Arsenal-esque.
Yeah, but this basically says, where's it gone? The report that CFC Pies put out is that Chelsea internally have been laughing their heads off at the prospect of the player not being happy and wanting to sell him. And maybe that's completely true. At the same time, there's just this little, like, 1% in the back of my mind. By the way, I don't think Man United are going to get him irrespective. I don't think we could. It's just, what do you mean you're laughing?
I don't know. It's arrogant, innit, Terry? Like, your club is literally failing. Yeah, you spent all this money. You spent what, £2 billion? Yeah, you're struggling to even get top five at the moment. Yeah, I think that might be fifth actually at the moment. You've sacked another manager, and you're laughing because a star player might be considering his future. Nah, I just think they're so arrogant. These people that are running the football club at Chelsea are just the most arrogant people in the world, man. And there will come a time, if they don't fix this, there will come a time. Will it be this summer? Will it be the summer after? Will it be summer? There'll come a time when their top players have enough and they will want to leave. Facts.
Well, this is the thing, right? Is he sitting there now, staring out the window, pining to get back to Manny? No, because it's an hour and a half on a fast train, and he's fucking rich, and he can go back to Man. Is he like he probably lives in just on the outskirts of London? He can get there real easy. You know, I don't think there's that. Do I think there's part of his head going, if this don't start working in the next year or two, I need to look at moving? Yes, because I think most footballers think like that. But this is the line from Sky Sports. So it says, Sky Sports have been told Chelsea are privately laughing the Cole Palmer rumours off. It's the laughing bit. I just don't think they necessarily would. That's just me. And that he's very, hang on. And that he's very happy at Chelsea. Chelsea would not sell unless an offer we've never seen before outside the likes of Saudi or Neymar to Barca comes in. He's not for sale. So he is for sale for the right money. We wouldn't sell him unless you offer us crazy money. And I think for me, that's the only bit I'd be ever so slightly nervous about as a Chelsea fan, is I think unless a player was pushing to leave in the peak era of Chelsea under Roman, they didn't sell their best players, where I think the right money now comes along, Clearlake will sell. And that for me is, the only reason we sold Cristiano Ronaldo, we didn't sell players in our pomp. Yapstam, yes. Beckham, yes, because they fell out with the manager. But when it comes to Ronaldo, it was purely he really wanted to go, so the club looks at getting it done for everything he gave to us. But that's a rarity. And there's something about it. And I'm not saying he's going to come to Man United. It's just, I always look at it this way. There's no smoke without fire. It also could be, by the way, the other way, of a way of him starting the process of getting an improved contract. That's also likely in this. But yeah, it's
wait a sec. That particular scenario, why would he do that? If he wants a better contract, why don't you just go to a team that actually wins stuff and get a better contract? He could go to Arsenal and get a better contract, and I say win stuff. They don't actually win stuff, but maybe in the future.
I don't know if we paid
City. He could go there. He could go United, who've been terrible but still win stuff. He could go abroad. So why would Palmer sign a new deal at Chelsea unless they look serious? Just to get a better contract. Why wouldn't you just leave and go win stuff and still get a better contract?
I don't think it's been a secret that Cole Palmer would like to go back to Manchester. He still has a lot of ties there. His family's there. He was at Man City for a long time. He is a Manchester United fan. I just don't think he's just going to up and leave Chelsea right now. I think Manchester United would need to really be head and shoulders better than Chelsea before he jumps to Man United.
Well, I hear that. I mean, I still think Chelsea have got a very good chance of finishing ahead of us, but they're fucking better. After being world champions and the way they spoke about Arsenal, they can't allow this Man United team to finish ahead of them. Surely. Not after where we were.
Do we all still think that Liverpool are finishing outside the top 5?
No, I think they sacked their manager before that happens.
Yeah, I think something goes on. Either he sorts it out or he gets fired, and I think Liverpool finish top 5. If Liverpool don't finish in the top 5 after winning the league and spending 500 million, that is one of the most embarrassing things we've ever seen in the Premier League.
Oh, without a doubt.
I'm not even trying to hate. Yeah, that's just facts.
I think Aston Villa have a better chance of falling out. And you might think I'm crazy right now, but I don't think Unai Emery knows how to manage the top 4 plus the European competition. One of them is going to slip.
I don't think maybe. Slip, bro. They're 8 points ahead. That'd be some mad bottle job, that, if they do that, bro.
Nottingham Forest bottled it last year, remember?
No, but Villa are not Forest. Come on, man. Villa are
a
top team.
It's different. Liverpool's situation is really interesting. I don't disagree. I think it's all about how they get on, but they forget Carabao. They play Newcastle, then they play City, then they're away to Sunderland, home to Brighton, away to Forest. They've got to one of those games, so the Brighton games, FA Cup, in those 5 league games, those 4 or 5 league games. It depends on Chelsea and Man United's results. This is where it becomes sketchy for them, because they're very capable of drawing 2 or 3 of them or losing a couple of them with their current form. If that happens, but Man United and Chelsea win the majority, that's when you suddenly have an 8-point gap between them and a Champions League spot. That's when I think it might be too much for them going into the back end of the season, unless they change manager. Because I think if Slot stays, I think they're going to remain as inconsistent for the rest of the season. I don't think it will change too much. But you are right. Imagine being champions, dropping $500 million, $500 million, and then coming like 6th in the league. For me, it'll be the most embarrassing league title defense ever. We've all had but all 3 of our clubs had seasons where the next year we weren't as good. But not after breaking the records they did in the transfer window. It'd be a crazy season. Look, sorry. Beyond, it's worse. No, Leicester. But Leicester didn't go and spend £500 million a year later. Like
Leicester is like, come on, man. Like, we're not doing the this.
But if Leicester also lost 2 of their best players. So for me, I think Mahrez did 1 more year. If they'd have kept Kante and then spent $500 million and bought one of the best strikers in the league, best young striker in Europe, and one of the best creative midfielders in Europe, already, by the way, didn't have Robert Hu from Wesley, I forget his name, Wesley something, not Fofana. Anyway, at the back, right, it'd be different. It's a completely different scenario. But look, I want to thank everyone who's tuned into the show today. It means a great deal to us here that you've all tuned in so much. I might be live a little bit later. What? Oh, okay, cool. 1 sec. So someone's asking for my phone number and I just sent it out to say, Wes Morgan, that's the name. So yeah, make sure you're liking, make sure you're sharing, make sure you're subscribing. Who's live right now? Has anyone got a stream set up that I like? There we go. That's done. Until next time, everybody, take care. Goodbye. God bless. LB, Egal, thank you boys very much for being on. And we're going to see you all again very, very soon. Peace.